We have got a multi-day severe weather event all the way from our Thursday evening here all the way through Saturday night across parts of the south and southeast with this strong storm system that's going to also bring very heavy rainfall and in fact a multi-day flood event that we're very concerned about as well. In this video I've got the details on this whole storm, so let's get right into it. Thank you so much for joining me here at One Nation Weather. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video, and check out WeatherBell maps, which are going to be some of the ones that I use in this video. But for now, looking at the Storm Prediction Center's Day 1 Severe Weather Outlook, timestamps in the description so you can skip ahead to the part you want to get to. We've got a Level 2 Severe Weather Threat out of 5 from parts of central Texas, including areas just west of Dallas, all the way on up there through parts of north central Oklahoma. And we're also watching this hail risk that accompanies it, and especially along that dry line that we're going to kind of get there into parts of central Texas and parts of western Oklahoma. That's where we could get some hailstones exceeding 2 inches in diameter, so some 3-inch hailstones are possible, probably at the high end. I mean, we're also watching a little bit of a tornado threat in some of those areas indicated in the greens and the tans. You can see as we go, as I'm filming this right now, we've got a severe thunderstorm watch up for these storms right here through parts of western Oklahoma, as well as parts of north central Texas, as some of those kind of ride along just west of Dallas on that I-20 corridor that we've got there. But as we go throughout the rest of this evening, we're going to continue to watch a warm front lift north through parts of Kansas and Missouri as well. So with that in mind, we're kind of going to see maybe a couple different little clusters of storms, one through south central Kansas and north central Oklahoma, the other in southeastern Oklahoma, and on down through Dallas, say around 9-10 o'clock this evening. That zone I just circled there in the yellow into parts of far southeast Kansas and southwest Missouri. We might see a little bit of a brief tornado threat up there as well. Going to be very messy, I think, as we go towards the midnight 1 a.m. time frame there into the Arklatex region, back on over towards Oklahoma City, as well as some different clusters of storms kind of break up and converge. But still, of course, with these any storm lines that continue heading on off towards the east, we will especially watch those for damaging winds tonight. And then on back towards around 3-4 a.m. in the morning here on our Friday, from Abilene down to San Angelo towards Kerrville there in Texas, and then eventually heading on up that I-20 corridor and stretching closer down to I-10 as well. We'll kind of watch that storm line overnight tonight with the potential for that really huge hail. And as we go into our Friday, we're going to continue to watch the severe weather outlook head east, a very broad level 2 risk from the Arklatex and Arkla-Miss region all the way on down there into parts of south central Alabama and the far western Florida panhandle. We are looking at a broad 5% tornado risk zone for within 25 miles of a point. If you live in any color on the screen or even anywhere near these colors, be on definitely high alert for the potential of some tornadoes as we go through the day on Friday and especially into the afternoon and evening hours. And we're also in that Arklatex zone there, so just east of Dallas into northern parts of Louisiana and southern parts of Arkansas. Going to be watching for some larger hail, and we'll time everything out here in just a second. I just kind of want to show you some of those ingredients as well. As you can see, we've got the 850 millibar winds. These are your low-level jet stream winds, and it looks like in this box that I'm drawing right here with that southerly flow, we're going to get some of those 50-60 knot southerly low-level winds there into parts of southern Mississippi there. That kind of overlaps with some of those upper-level winds and creates more of that sheer environment for those spin-up tornadoes, those supercell thunderstorms that get discrete and kind of out of the clustering that we see with a lot of cells out of bigger events like this. You can definitely see that we're getting a lot of moisture in those yellow and oranges colors closest to the Gulf Coast. But notice we don't have too many yellows going on up into the Ohio Valley, with those dew points really only being near 50 to 55 in a lot of the Ohio Valley out of the system. That's why the severe weather outlook doesn't extend that far north. And as we go into our Saturday, obviously we'll cover this in just a second, into parts of northern Florida, South Georgia, and parts of South Carolina, we'll be watching those dew points continue to head eastward. Very juicy atmosphere moisture there to really support those storms. Now let's look at that future radar here for our Friday severe weather event. In the morning, maybe some ongoing clusterings in west central Mississippi, as well as parts of northeastern Texas there in that Arklatex region. Notice as these storms continue to kind of head on off towards the east here, and get a little bit more of the discrete nature of them. So anywhere from around the midday time frame onward, really anywhere in the day, we've got to watch the tornado threat. But really once we get past, again, that noon hour, that's when these storms really begin to fire on up there through parts of north central Louisiana, central parts of Mississippi that we'll be watching. We'll also be watching some of those closer on down there to the I-10 corridor there along the Gulf Coast. All of that needs to be very closely monitored there. And again, it's everything that's kind of trailing the very heavy rain that's going to be pushing through places like Birmingham in the end of the day around sundown time frame. Those cells kind of lingering back there into that more unstable environment of parts of southern Mississippi. Some of those lone cells that try to still fire on off even into the evening hours there into parts of central Louisiana. We'll watch those. But of course, this is as well a wind threat, so we'll watch that line pushing through parts of central Alabama. There's going to be a lot of little features that we're watching on and off throughout the day here on our Friday. But you can notice there that we definitely see a little bit of that trailing feature through parts of south central Alabama all the way down to places places like Biloxi and Mississippi into early wee morning hours there of our Saturday, and some of those could be discrete cells tapping into that shear environment and trying to head on off towards the east. I mean, eventually kind of bringing our threat up as we go into our Saturday. Yep, there you go. You can see from southeast Alabama, north central parts of Florida Panhandle, through parts of Georgia, and then on over there into South Carolina, most of South Carolina, by the way. We're watching that level 2 of 5 severe weather threat into our Saturday. Looks like we're going to have pretty decent moisture, especially the closer you go to the Gulf Coast. There's going to be some decent shear still in place, so it does look like this will be an all hazards threat, but especially for some maybe gusty winds, tornadoes. Obviously, when you get these systems kind of continuing to head east, definitely monitor a potential for that all hazard threat as we go into our Saturday. Obviously, we'll get a little bit more in the way of future radar timing as we get closer to that event, but let's just kind of take a look at the overall future radar with the European model out of the system. Don't want to leave out the fact that there's a lot of heavy rainfall on up there as we go Friday afternoon through parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, on into southern Wisconsin and Michigan. Notice that northern end of this low pressure system is really extending all the way on up in that region. There's also another low in the southeast, and that's really the one responsible for that kind of severe weather event, really moving along the Gulf Coast especially. But man, that's a lot of heavy rain Saturday afternoon, really a washout from parts of Michigan all the way back down towards the mid-Atlantic and Gulf Coast regions. And eventually we're going to see, again, that little storm line maybe develop in parts of Georgia, South Carolina, with some discrete cells as well continuing there Saturday afternoon. Some of that might try to push into northern Florida as we go towards Saturday evening, but really the story at that point I think is really going to begin to shift to this heavy rain and even interior New England snow that we get out of this system as it kind of caps on up there, and we see that little bit of that wraparound flow into parts of the northeast as early as our Sunday morning there. We'll also have a little bit of a trough digging on down there into eastern parts of the United States at that point, so we'll kind of see how that cool air can support that interior New England snow. Other than that, though, this is going to be mostly a rain event, and look at how much rain we're going to see. If you live anywhere from the Arklatex region, but especially on there through parts of north central Alabama and north Georgia, as well as the upstate of South Carolina, some areas in that region picking up a widespread 2 to 4 inches of rain. And then when you get into some of the zones there around Atlanta, Georgia, some of the areas surrounding, and overall it looks like we're starting to get more certainty on this. Could get close to a half a foot of rain in some spots there. But look at this swath of rain that we get on the northern end of this low as well, anywhere from parts of northeastern Missouri all the way on up there through New England. About an inch or two of rain, and of course some of that will follow snow in the highest elevations. Now, with that northern end low and that southern end low, there's going to be kind of this middle ground zone where the lows almost kind of split the difference there. So if you live maybe through parts of Tennessee all the way on over to that mid-Atlantic coastline, but especially through Virginia and Maryland, that's where it looks like a smaller swath of actually lighter rainfall, closer to a half an inch, might be possible. And again, there's still room for those models to wiggle. Now, temperatures and those anomalies, it's looking like behind this system we go about maybe 5-10 degrees below average over the east, but you can see that ridging, that warmer than average air trying to push back into the plains right behind this. So let's kind of look at those daily high temperatures from what the National Digital Forecast database here from the National Weather Service. Notice on our Saturday we've got a lot of 70s in the southern and eastern United States. Could we try to see severe weather sneak northward there on Saturday into parts of the Ohio Valley? Maybe, but again, it's going to stay especially confined in the southeast. Florida seeing record highs while it's in the 40s back there into parts of the north central plains on Saturday. Then as we go into our Sunday, look at that 60s and 70s lifting northward over a lot of the plains. And that continues to build with a lot of 70s as far north as the Dakotas there, while meanwhile in the northeastern United States we are sitting in the 30s as we go towards our Monday of next week. So really seeing a lot of different little pattern swings there. And look at the 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, looking much warmer than average over a lot of the eastern United States as we head in that March 13th through 17th time frame. So we'll continue to watch that very closely. But for now, that's the end of this video. I might make another one for you tomorrow as well with an update on kind of what the threats are going to be as we go tomorrow night and into our Saturday. But for now, that's going to be it here with One Nation Weather for today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more accurate, easy to understand weather content. Hit that subscribe button. That's it.